Dear friends, I'm Father Chama, and I'm glad to come back as usual to continue our chat where we discuss a number of issues related to family, couples, and sexuality. These days we've been looking at expectations in a couple. Last time we talked about low and high expectations, and we ended by remarking that we should avoid confusing high and low expectations on one hand with realistic and unrealistic expectations on the other. So in this new chat, we want to begin with realistic and unrealistic expectations. Expectations, whether they are high or low, will be considered as realistic if they are achievable, and they are unrealistic if they are only utopian, that is, if they lack the possibility of being realized. Indeed, for example, it would be only fair to expect from your partner in a love relationship affection, respect, intimacy, to mention but just few. On the other hand, you have unrealistic or unreasonable expectations when you over expect. You are expecting more than is possible. That can be stressing as you cleave for things impossible to realize. That is not helpful to you or to your partner either. In fact, it creates unnecessary stress in a relationship. Here we don't go into detail as what may constitute over expectations. Couples vary from one to another, but you are expert of your own couple. You know your situation. You know what is possible and what is not. And certainly, it will not be necessary to stretch your partner with demands that only leave them stressed. That doesn't do good service to your relationship. So let's move on to pros and cons of expectations. Like any other thing, there are two sides to expectations, positives and negatives. So let's look at some of them. First, you get what you struck. Expectations, especially the demanding ones, help holding your relationship to high standard. You strive for high quality interactions. And because you work in that sense, in that direction, you are likely also to get excellent results. However, if you aim high and expect a lot, chances are also high for disappointment. It is true in the case of anxious partners who can be quite demanding because of their tendency to feeling unsatisfied and always wanting more. They feel not loved enough. And others may even admire their couple, the good husband, the good wife they have, but they themselves don't just see that, they don't appreciate it. Psychologically, an expectation is somehow a belief about what you think will happen in the future. It inspires your behavior, thus, things may turn out to be as expected because you actually worked on it. In that way, the expectation served you as a stimulant. Expecting good things becomes, hence, a self-fulfilling prophecy. Contrariwise, expecting also good things becomes also a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't get much because you didn't expect much either. High expectations of your partner's behavior lead you to be your best self too. It encourages you to be a good partner. Whereas low expectations of your partner's behavior lead you to let yourself off the hook. You become a bit lax. You become mediocre. You are average in everything you do. The stress and the pressure from expectations, especially if accumulated for a long time, may lead to a resentment, anger, and disappointment towards each other, between partners. When you have expectations about your partner, in a way, you wait for them to fit in your way of seeing things, in your way of doing things, leaving them a little room to be themselves. You don't respect the other for who they are, but by how much they please you by meeting your demands. That can be quite self-centered. That can be quite selfish. It's in that way that expectations can potentially strain a couple's relationship. Locked up in your own expectations, should becomes a recurring term word in your couple with rigid rules that you want to impose on your partner. However, you should remember your spouse is not a child to be parented by you. They are your companion with whom you should work things out consensually, together. That's why, in fact, you need to take into account your partner's expectations too. It is necessary as partners to harmonize your expectations in your couple. How do you do that? How do you harmonize your expectations in your couple? But that will be for our next chat. For now, as usual, feel free to encourage and inspire others by a comment or a contribution. You can also join us on WhatsApp or Facebook group named Couples Corner. And you can also subscribe on my blog, singleemonitor.com. In that way, I'll be able to send you new postings right in your email box. It's bye-bye for now, and